Our first Sunday roundtable of the fall. Happy fall. Joining us are Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Rob Gray. I can't believe it's happy fall already. Where did the summer go? I can't even figure that out. Let's start with Andrea Campbell. What stood out in the conversation this morning with her?
I think two things. One is the mention about the fact that the wait time to get work visas, from 8 months to 30 days, huge.
Right.
On top of that, the leadership that Massachusetts is showing on abortion rights, not just here in the state, but across the country. And that is, I didn't know that. And so that is really impressive that Maura Healey, Kim Driscoll, Andrea Campbell, all are working not just here, but across the country to help women protect their rights.
Rob?
34 ballot initiatives she's certified for next year's ballot. Interesting, they have to get the signatures, but not much suspense on the presidential election ballot here. There may be a lot of suspense, and it may be a crowded ballot in terms of ballot initiatives.
All right. Since it came into existence in 2018, the Cannabis Control Commission has been kind of a hot mess. Shannon O'Brien suspended as chair, and so far, no explanation. She is the third chair to be pushed out. There are calls for an oversight audit. The commission is overseen by the Treasurer's office. Is that a big part of the problem, Rob?
Well, first of all, Treasurer Deb Goldberg, what a terrible decision to appoint Shannon O'Brien in the first place. Paying off some kind of political favor for endorsement, I don't know. But this is somebody who owned a cannabis company. A failed candidate for office in Massachusetts, maybe looking to pad her pension. Why appoint her in the first place? And now a year later, she's out. Deb Goldberg has some things to answer for sure.
What do you think, Marianne?
Well, 3 chiefs gone in 5 years, which is unbelievable.
Three
in 5 years.
In 5 years.
That's the real point here.
Yeah.
And yet no one really knows why about any of them. You look back now and say, well, after what's happened to Shannon, like, wait, what happened here? And by the way, I did work for Shannon O'Brien many, many years ago in another life when she ran for treasurer. But you have to look at Deb Goldberg and the Treasurer's office because that is underneath it. And when you start to look at the dysfunction that's been reported there, the inability to get things done and all that, you have State Senator Mike Moore coming out this week asking for an independent investigation unit to be under the CCC, but to have an Inspector General running it. That starts to tell you the depth of the problem, and ultimately the person who has to answer for it is the treasurer.
And this is no small thing. People go, oh, it's some political commission. Who cares who's the head of it? It's a $5 billion industry that's impacting, some would say infecting, hundreds of towns across the Commonwealth. This matters. And the treasurer is not in control of this. It's a disaster.
So let me just be clear. The word that we've been told is suspended, not terminated or eliminated or wiped out.
Well, they took her employee card and her key and made her leave the office in a cardboard box. I think we know where it's headed.
Like a duck, it's a duck. All right, okay. Let's talk about the tea. And I want to start this one because in the space of 1 week, the team managed to fix a stretch of the commuter rail in Leominster. It was entirely washed out by the flooding, a huge task, and yet they got it done safely within 1 week. They put in a drain pipe, they put in the rocks. Trains can go over it in less than a week. Mother Nature look at the hole that Mother Nature had ripped under that, and in less than a week they fixed it. So why does everything else in the tea take so long, Marianne?
Well, first, Maura Healey's cleaning up after Charlie Baker. I feel an obligation to say that, number one. Number two, good for Phil Lang. And it shows you what he'll be able to do everywhere else. But let's look at Leominster. That commuter line, as we know it, started in 1980. The T has been running 7 days a week, more or less, since 1897. Maura Healey has been governor for 262 days. So I'm optimistic that all these problems are going to get fixed. And if you look at Sharma's report about when they were asked about the safety incident the other day and the look on Maura Healey's face, I wouldn't want to be any one of those tea workers if it happens again. She was mad.
Well, I am obligated to say that Charlie Baker was cleaning up after Deval Patrick, who was cleaning up after Mitt Romney. I mean, the tea has been a disaster for a long time. It still is, despite all the billions and billions of dollars of investment. Let's face it, when everybody is watching and it's an emergency, the tea performs. When people aren't watching, the routine daily tasks, collectively, 50% of the people, let's say at the tea, aren't doing their jobs effectively, and that adds up to an ineffective system more has to be done to reform it and change the culture there.
We did see a little bit of that with that the work stoppage that they had to do after the issues with the near
With
misses.
safety.
Which is the right thing to do.
ongoing.
I just wish the media coverage and attention to this problem, and maybe we have to be grateful to the woman who dove into the Mystic River when the Orange Line was on fire, should have been applied to all of Maura's predecessors the way it's being applied to her. That, to me, is the stunning part.
All right. Well, results from the latest MCAS test show students are still struggling in the wake of the pandemic. 275 schools identified as needing state assistance or intervention. The state has received billions in federal aid. So why do you think this hasn't made more of an impact, Marianne?
Everyone needs to be Cambridge. Cambridge did something most other communities did not. It took the $8 million that were given and used more than 50% of it just to catch up on lost learning. And they did. They have come up and eclipsed everything at every student level, every category across the board, because they used the money for teacher training to make sure kids got really rigorous instruction. They made sure they have like tailored programs for them based on data, and they continue that over vacations, the summer, and everything else. They're all caught up, and everyone needs to look at them and be like Cambridge.
Extra of Cambridge, could this be a lost generation, Rob?
Sure. I mean, COVID was a disaster for schools, but thank God for MCAS. I mean, we know that there are deficiencies. We can work on them now. The teachers' unions, those ballot questions I mentioned, they want to gut MCAS and get rid of it. At least we know this is going on. Well, as a graduation requirement, but that's just the start. That's how we measure standards in our schools. But listen, teachers don't want to go to work. It's harder and harder to hire teachers at a government level. With the governor on down, they have to do something to get more teachers in there because a lot of people are remote working. We need people to go into the profession. To be a great teacher, you got to show up to work 5 days. That makes it really hard in this economy to get good teachers.
Cambridge is the proof that no one has to be a lost generation.
We continue on the record.